Hey, you made it. Come on in and join me. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself. I'm super glad you're here. If you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button so that you can follow the adventure as it unfolds. And if you love this podcast, share it with your friends. It is Friday and time for the free ditty or the Friday ditty. I will share with you a poem about this week's topic, which is helplessness and finding power, along with research I found that helps explain what happened inside of me. I am not giving advice. If you want advice, there are plenty of people who would love more than anything to give it to you, and I truly believe you have the capacity to understand yourself, and sometimes that's through understanding other people. So let's get to it. Here's a poem called Finding My Superpower. Once upon a time, in a world so grand, I set out on a quest to truly understand. I'm Angela, a curious soul you'll see. Discovering my power is what fills me with glee. In a podcast called Me Making Sense of Myself, I pondered and explored like a curious elf. With a question brewing deep inside, I sought to know my power far and wide. Life's struggles and battles, oh so tough. In those moments I knew I had had enough. For on this journey I had found the power to change with love profound. But enough about me, let's turn to you. What power have you discovered anew? Take a moment, close your eyes, and reflect on what makes you rise. Maybe it's kindness or a talent you possess, a strength inside you ready to impress. Embrace your power, let it guide your way, and make a difference every single day. So now, my friend, let's take a bow, for we've learned something special starting now. In the depths of your soul lies a power unseen, a force that makes you strong like never before seen. So what does it mean to live in helplessness? Well, I'm going to talk about rats. So imagine this. A rat is locked in a cage that is electrified, and this electrified shock is turned on periodically. And what happens is the rat scrambles around trying to get away from the shock, but the shock comes regardless of what the rat does. Later, the rat is placed in a similar cage where it only needs to cross to the other side to turn off the electricity. But the previous experience informed the rat that the electricity isn't going to go off, so why move? So the rat makes no attempt to see if something is different this time, and that's what learned helplessness is. So how did this apply to me and my story? At work, I had been told I had no value by being let go because I couldn't perform 100% of my job duties. And at home, I couldn't complete my daily tasks, and I received this message or shock or electrocution over and over and over again that verified in my mind that I was helpless to change my circumstances. I quite literally was physically unable to perform tasks that family and society found valuable. So it makes sense that I came to the conclusion that I was not valuable. Essentially, I believe that even if I moved, the electrocution would not end. And if we're talking about my physical pain, well, that's true. It still has not ended. So this happened so many times that my belief about my ability to impact my life positively changed into believing that I had no power. I had truly become helpless. I literally learned helplessness. So when a caregiver company came in and refused to help me with my parenting tasks, I became infuriated. It was the only place in my life where I had found value. In fact, it's the role that I took and said, hey, I can do this. If there's anything I can do, it's this, even if I couldn't do anything else. So when they came in, it was like a hot sword stabbing me in the back, and I absolutely had to move. And when I moved, something very interesting happened. I didn't die. And I started asking for help. So that initial movement and recognizing that I didn't die was key in me learning to ask for help and starting to ask for help. Was I scared? Yeah, I absolutely was scared. What if nothing could be done? And then I thought, but what if something could be done? Knowing that disability can show up at any time in someone's life before or after having children, I couldn't understand how there was no support to help those parents who desperately wanted to be involved in their children's lives. I felt angry and disappointed. This was key in my journey. I needed anger and disappointment, and I needed to learn to ask for help. By asking for help, I was getting to see that there were people who wanted to help. What I didn't know at the time, because of my learned helplessness, was that there are huge pro-social benefits to giving the gift of receiving. Let me say that again. There are huge pro-social benefits to giving the gift of receiving. In my mind, I had this idea that I was only valuable if I could be the one helping. I didn't think through to the point of realizing that in order to help, someone else needed to need me helping them. I could only feel good if I helped, but I couldn't give someone else that gift. So let's talk about finding that personal power. As I continued to reach out for help, I also learned that I had the power to influence others. Many people knew of the problem with parents with disabilities, and yet many, many more did not. My ability to see a problem and take effective action was also key in recognizing that I did not need to be helpless anymore, that I had the power to affect change in this world. While the problem of parents with disabilities receiving support in a way that helps them raise their children has not been solved, I know that I have and will continue making an impact for the better. I'll leave you with a poem. Remember, my friend, you hold a power so grand in your heart, in your mind, and in your own hand. Discover it, use it, let it guide you each day, for in finding your power, you'll light the way. I've put links to some studies down in the doobly-doo for you. Now remember to subscribe and share with your friends. I'll see you next time. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself.